Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're gonna hopefully finish up this 2013 Cadillac CTS wheel bearing, CV shaft, and moving the parking brakes over. So my last video, we pulled off the wheel assembly and the knuckle and all that stuff, and then during reassembly, I messed up the CV shaft. So I had to order a new CV shaft. It's finally here. So today I'm gonna remove the old CV shaft, this guy here, show you kind of how to get up in there and remove the bolts on there. Gonna put in a new one. I'll include how to transfer your parking brake over from the old hub to the new hub, and then we'll just assemble everything here. So let's get into it. So we've got the assembly off the car. These bolts in the back that actually hold the wheel hub to this arm, just pop those out like 13 millimeter. There is some Loctite that comes on them, so they're not super easy to get out. I just use an impact wrench that came right out though, super quick. And then, like I said, we're getting ready to reassemble the new one, kind of in the reverse order, and get this parking brake assembly swapped over. All right, so what I'm doing here is I put the brake shield on, just put these parking brake cable bracket bolts on to hold it in place. It actually just connects with these studs through there. To hold this in place, this one here is held on right now by the wheel bearing, but you can see how bad this was. Like, you can just see how gross this is, corroded. This wheel speed sensor, you know, it broke trying to remove it because it's got all that buildup and gunk on there. And you can see this ring on the back's broken on this wheel hub. That's probably why the sensor stopped working, is because it was picking up that little broken piece there. So, like I said, we're gonna take this, I'm gonna flip it over, disassemble all the parking brake stuff, paying really close attention to the way this bracket through here comes through the back so I can make sure I put it in the correct way. And then we're going to transfer everything from the parking brake assembly onto this guy. And then we're going to assemble, put the wheel hub on, mount that all, and then just go back to the car and put it all back together. The parking brake assembly on the back side of this wheel hub should be able to get it out. We've got these spring retainers we got to pull out here, and then the adjuster, and we'll just put it all right there. And like I said, put that wheel hub on, assemble it. I'm going to use some anti-seize lubricant on the inside of the control arm thing there, so that way maybe help the next person that ever has to do one of these disassemble this by just pulling the hub out instead of doing all this craziness. Little pins and springs out that hold the shoe assembly to the hub or the bracket. Got the springs off of the shoes, both sides. Got the adjuster off that goes right here. But while I'm here, I might just order new parts because this stuff looks kind of crusty. I don't know if I would trust this stuff to actually work or not. You know, the shoes look like they're good and stuff, but I don't know. It's probably not too bad. The adjuster still sponges fine. Maybe I'll just clean it up and put it on there. We'll see what happens. Now, it's disassembled. Just got to basically put everything back together here, and it's good to go. All right, and there is the brake shoe assembly put on. So like I said, now I'm just gonna take the wheel bearing, some anti-seize, put it in here and actually mount the wheel bearing into place. And then it's basically ready to go back into the car here. And here it is assembled. I pulled those two bolts off here so I can mount that bracket for the parking brake in the vehicle. Bolted it on the back there, and now it's just a matter of going out to the vehicle, putting it all back together. So now we're done with the hard part, and like I said, most people are probably not going to do this way. They're going to struggle with this for 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 days, then realize they can't do it, so they'll take it into a shop and spend a bunch of money on it. Or you could just do what I'm doing and just buy all these parts and do it all at the same time. I mean, yeah, it's taking a couple days to do it, but that's because I got a real job I have to go to. So now we're gonna put it back together, get my wife's car back on the road, make her happy, make me happy, life will be good. All right, like I said, here's the assembly, ready to go back in. Oh, that way. Up on there, we'll bolt the ball joint back on, the control arm, sway bar, mount it to the, whatever the heck you call that bracket, coil spring bracket thingy. Hook the parking brake back up, plug in the sensor, and this car will be back on the road again. So in order to remove the CV shaft, you can see there's some like Allen bolts that hold that CV shaft on right there. It's like a 5/16, I believe. There's maybe 6 of them. We're gonna use the impact wrench or socket on a long extension with a ratchet and get those pulled off, and this thing should come right out. On this car, you can see in there, these things are really dirty. You know, this car was driven on gravel a lot and through the Midwest, and we got to really clean those bolts out before we can get in there and get those off. So I'm just using like a screwdriver and a pick and gonna clean out that area so that way I can get the hex socket to stick in there really well. All right, then once you get all those bolts loosened up in there, this thing will just honestly pop right out. And then the new one will go right there as well. But these, here's kind of what the old one looks like to give you an idea. There's these little bracket things on there that those all screwed on top of, like a kind of like a washer for it. So there's the old one. Like I said, you can see I messed this thing up big time. You know, I did something, honestly, I knew I wasn't supposed to do. I tried putting the CV shaft in. I was using the impact wrench on it and wasn't paying attention and cross-threaded it, so don't do that. Tighten it by hand. I'll show you when I put this thing back together, then tighten it down with a ratchet and then torque it to specs. Don't do what I did. Something super important to note, you'll see green thread locker on there. So when you reassemble this, make sure you reapply the green thread locker. So that's thread locker that's designed to hold the parts together, even though there might be vibrations and stuff, and really keep it coming from coming apart. So super important on this drive shaft to make sure you reapply that green thread sealant when you put this back together. For a CV shaft, I ordered a brand new CV shaft. Nice thing about the new one, obviously it's a new shaft, but it comes with the new hardware as well. It comes with the new bolts, the new little bracket things there, a new nut as well. So that'll make that easier to put in. All right, then once you get the new shaft in there and you tighten down the bolts, you're ready to put the hub assembly on here. So we'll get ready to do that. All right, so now CV shaft is in. I've got the hub assembly on there. I've got this centered coming through just like it should be here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this nut on here to kind of hold that in place. Now I'm gonna move this all around and get all of the stuff attached, the shock, the control arm, sway bar links, all that stuff. Get it connected again, and we'll be ready to tighten everything down. All right, so my 2-hour hub bearing project that turned into a 3-week project is about done. You can see I've only got a couple things left to do. I've got to just mount the brake caliper back on. I got to put the rotor back on first, and then just reattach the parking brake cable, which I pulled the bracket off already right here. This bracket mounts to the back here. The spring has to be compressed, and there's this little hook inside there you can kind of see back there. That actually hooks on to that little lever right down in here. There's that little lever right there. It's got to attach to. So I gotta do that really quick. Put the rotor on. I'm gonna put the caliper back on, and then I'll jump back on here really quick, assemble everything. We'll let it sit till tomorrow so that green thread locker can cure. And then that job's finally done. I tell you what, I've done both driver's sides now, hub bearings, because I mean the car's 100,000 miles on it. It's a 2013, so it's about time for them. I'm gonna probably go ahead and just order the front and rear for the other side and do them, and I'm gonna order everything like I did this time. I'm gonna order the knuckles, control arms for the front, backing plates, CV shaft for the other side. I'm gonna order everything and just do it, so that way I don't have to mess with this problem again, because this is a terrible project. Well, there it is. Terrible job. I don't recommend it, but if you have to do it, now you know how. So until next time.